birdie.
One of Japan's greatest movers in cultural thinking and entrepreneurs, Fukuzawa Yukichi, said that it was his greatest wish to travel to America on Japan's first voyage when he came here. He knew that America had much to offer for the country, as well as himself, and that it would change both of them forever. This is true for anyone that travels. We get to see an entirely new way of life, while at the same time getting to understand who we are a lot better. In my travels across Japan, I gained a great respect for their country, as well as gaining an even higher sense of patriotism for my own. These lessons are some of the few things in life that cannot be bought. They can only be lived to be truly experienced. In my PowerPoint, Tokyo, Places, People, and Possibilities, I will argue that the capital of Japan, Tokyo, is a city worth visiting no matter who you are or where you came from. I will first explain what the greater Tokyo region is. Secondly, I will talk about the population inhabiting the area. And lastly, how the city benefits you. Hopefully after the presentation's over, everyone here will be looking for a cheap ticket to go to one of the most mind-blowing megacities in the world. I actually wanted to start with a preface to give you an idea of how the Twin Cities and Tokyo relate. Does anybody have an idea of how big Tokyo is in kilometers or miles squared? You can just shout it out.
200 miles squared.
Anything else?
400 miles squared.
Well, Tokyo is 2188 kilometers squared, or 1356 miles squared, and that is 46 by 46 kilometers, or 36 by 36 miles. How big do you think the Twin Cities is?
200 miles squared.
1,000 squared.
1,000?
A lot.
900? Twin Cities is 10,000, over 10,000 kilometers squared, or over 6,000 miles squared, and that gives it a 100 by 100 kilometer, or 79 by 79 mile area. As far as Tokyo, how much percent of the land does it occupy for Japan? What do you guys think?
2?
25.
25?
7.75.
7.75.
I think she suppose it was 2. What?
Friday night.
That's correct.
It's less. Point.
It's 0.6%. How big do you think the Twin Cities is, or how much land does the Twin Cities take up in America?
0.06. 1,000.
2%.
Wow.
16,000th of a percent. Now, for population, how many people do you guys think live in Tokyo?
2 billion.
2 billion. 25 million.
2009, 12.9 million. How many people live in the Twin Cities?
Less.
1.2.
300,000.
What percentage of the people of Japan live in Tokyo?
5?
5?
12.
17.
17?
$1, Bob.
12.
10%. So 1 out of every 10 people I meet from Japan are probably from Tokyo. What do you think about the Twin Cities? 0?
Yeah, 0.5.
5%.
0.5.
1%.
Oh, the U.S.
1% of America lives in the Twin Cities area.
It's less.
What do you think about rankings in population Where do you think the Twin Cities stands in the U.S. for population?
23.
42.
That's a really lucky number. We're the 13th largest population in the U.S. The last thing should be the GDP. What do you think for GDP of Tokyo per year?
Gross profit.
12 billion?
12 billion?
What denomination?
Where are we?
It's somewhere between there. $789 billion. How much do you think we make in the Twin Cities?
1275. What's minimum?
500 million.
10 billion.
190 billion.
Ew.
So they have over less than half the space than we do, but 4 times as much money. All right, it's pretty shocking results, I think. Yeah, that's probably a big reason.
Per capita is probably comparable.
Yeah. I mean, the more people you have, the more money, for sure. Now that we have some idea of what Tokyo is, let's begin with the area makeup of the city. This is part 1. As you can see, this is a map of Japan. And Tokyo is in the Middle East right here. And as we zoom in, we see what Tokyo is made of, or the surrounding area. The areas here are called prefectures, and they're comparable to states here in the United States. And then next is what is considered the Twin Cities area. And it's made up of areas called counties. We're in Hennepin County right now. And they contain towns inside them. And then that little star is where I live. And then now we zoom in even further to look at Tokyo itself. As you can see, the map is divided into 2 parts, into the ward areas, the Tama areas, and then the islands right here. Many of the city names I'm sure a few of you will recognize. Beginning with the right side, the Ku area, or the ward area. It's the higher populated area with 8.8 million residents, and it's the more commercial and business concentrated part of Tokyo. The area has been increasing in business facilities and offices, which has led to a decrease in residential land use. It has an efficient public transportation system, which makes it easy to get around and shop. City dwellers in the area, though, have concerns about earthquakes, destroying ancient temples and wooden housing. Road construction has also been delayed. And next is the Tama area, which is urbanized like the ward area, but it contains a more natural feel with lakes, rivers, and green areas. There is high concentration of universities there, research institute, and technical industries. Because of these distinctions, the Tama area is taking on a more important role in the greater Tokyo area. It faces its own problems as well, though, with delayed urban infrastructure, north and south railways, roads, and a shrinking natural environment. And then the last part of Tokyo is the islands. And while they're geographically isolated, and financially weak, have marine resources and an abundant of natural environment. The goals of the islands of the future are to improve living conditions and increase future labor to tackle foreseen problems it will face in the future. And this is part 2. This is the population. We took this photo in a train station in Shinjuku. As we can see, it's really busy. It's like this on a daily basis. And then the graph here showing us how Tokyo's population has grown over the past 90 years. It has been rising steadily until 1965. Afterwards, it stayed around the 11 to 12 million mark, even reaching 13 million in 2009. And I just wanted to highlight that. The graph, it looks like it's wrong, but that is actually, I believe, when they had their great earthquake, and a lot of people died in that. That's why the graph seems a little weird. And then this next graph is an age demographic for the Tokyo metropolis. The government has been concerned about this for over 20 years. Out-migration has been exceeding in-migration, except for 3 years in 1985, 1997, and 2008. The age population, which is the blue right here, has also been increasing and has exceeded what the United Nations has considered standard, which is 14%. In 2008, it had an age population of over 21%, and which some have labeled the super age society. And as you can see, the purple right here is the working population, that's us. And as you can see, those have been going down, and within 1999 and 2008, it's gone down 10%, as well as the green, which is the kids, and the kids have also been going down. So some people have been thinking that they might run out of people or their population will decline soon. And then here we can see the surrounding prefectures and the workers that commute to Tokyo on a daily basis. The national census in 2005 documented these numbers, and it shows that Kanagawa Prefecture, Saitama Prefecture, and Chiba Prefecture have the highest commuters daily to Tokyo, and this number is equal to the amount of people living in the Twin Cities that move there or travel there every day. And to go even deeper, here's a perspective of the daytime and nighttime population. As you can see, during the day they have 15 million people in Tokyo, and then at night they have 12 million people. So they gain 2 to 3 million people a day, every day. So 20% increase almost. Here's an interesting thing to take into perspective, though. Has the amount of spaceless people ever come up in your mind? Well, we can find that out. Let's ask ourselves, how much room does the population take up? First off, we take the people and we give them an area to stand in. Putting that on paper means taking Tokyo's 13 million people and giving them a 4-foot area to stand in. If we multiply that together, what do we get?
52 million feet square.
Yeah, you're right.
52 million.
Yes. So we have 52 million square feet. So now that we have the total area of people, we need to find out how long each side is in feet. Does anybody know how to do this?
2 foot squared?
What?
Oh, the whole thing.
Huh? Thought I heard it. No. Well, we have to take the square root of 52 million. And that equals, no, I'm just kidding, that's too hard. And that is 7,211 feet.
I didn't get his question
Each
at all.
side. And then the last thing we need to do is find out how many miles are in each side. So we take that number and divide it by how many feet are in a mile, and we get 1.3 by 1.3 miles, or 2.18 by 2.18 kilometers. That's the area of the people in Tokyo. It's like almost walking from here until the West Bank. It's pretty crazy. It's not that much space. And then the last part is the business section, and that is for you guys. As we know, Tokyo is a world-class established business area that caters to domestic and foreign companies. Tokyo also houses the largest number of foreign workers and international schools in Asia. You can see Tokyo's got 26 international schools, so you can go to school there pretty easily. And quite a bit of foreign residents here. And then as you can see, these are the companies that are affiliated in Tokyo, and the U.S. has a very big piece of that pie. So in this world economy that we have, Tokyo is actually pretty high on the World Bank chart. We're going to go down the list here to try to find out where Tokyo is in the world. Of course, the U.S. is on top, but does anybody have an idea of who's next?
China.
Go.
I'll give you a hint. It's actually a group,
Europe,
Europe.
EU.
That's cheating.
but that's not really a country. But what's next after that?
China.
Yes. China is 10 trillion now. What's after China?
Japan.
Germany.
Part of the Eurozone.
Japan.
The pretty part of
What's after Japan?
India.
No way.
Okay.
Oh, is it?
And then who's after India, do you guys think?
Germany.
It's in the European. It is.
Okay.
And then
Germany. France.
Russia.
France isn't that good.
And then
Might be tough.
United Kingdom.
It seems a little disingenuous.
And then after the UK,
The USA Network.
France. How about after France?
Canada.
Brazil.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Brazil. And yeah, you can just keep going.
Istanbul.
Denmark.
Turkey.
Italia.
That's Spain.
Mexico. So we're almost to Tokyo, but what do you guys think after Mexico? Canada? Spain. And then
Twin Cities.
Colombia?
Greece.
Come on, people.
South Korea.
Korea.
And then Australia. Canada. Finally got to Canada. Alright, and then Australia, Turkey.
Seriously, where is Australia?
And after Turkey, we have
Saudi Arabia.
Indonesia.
Flawed.
Yeah, what's
A few more, a few
Singapore?
more.
This is seriously flawed.
I was wondering Singapore, but it's so tough.
Thing.
Bulgaria.
Hungary,
Poland?
Australia.
Australia.
And then there's two more before Tokyo.
Switzerland.
Iran.
Oh. Ooh.
And then,
The Mushroom Kingdom.
we're over. Tokyo makes more than Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Thailand, South Africa, Poland, any other country. One city makes more than an entire nation after this list. It's pretty amazing. Now, here are the reasons to travel there. With over 400 companies, headquarters there, it's a prime spot to get employed. And one of the world's biggest companies, such as Sony, Toyota, and Honda, and many more. And then, more than likely, you will be represented in Tokyo, thanks to it housing 41 different embassies, including the USA. And the tourism This is my favorite part. There are many things to do in Tokyo. There's never a dull moment. And tourists can enjoy many different Japanese cultures, or cultural things, including sumo. Does everybody know what sumo is? Yeah, I got one hand. Well, for those who don't know, sumo is an ancient sport that dates back 1,500 years. And according to sumo.ne.jp, it was originally religious rituals dedicated to the gods. And then after the 12th century, it became a national sport. The point of it is being to push our opponent out of the ring or to force him to touch the ground with anything other than his feet. That includes a nose, a hand, a knee. That's it, you're done. And there are matches throughout the year, and they often take place in Tokyo. There's the onsen. Everybody's like, oh. Those are equivalent to our hot tubs, and in Japan they're quite popular. We actually had the luxury of going into one of these in Kyoto, and it was really awesome. And they're believed by the people to cure illness and reduce stress. And there's kabuki. And if you don't know what kabuki is, according to TokyoKabukiGuide.com, it's a traditional stage art in Japan that originated in the 17th century of the Edo period. And these plays contain only male actors, even for the female parts. So you might have to kiss. These plays are about historical events, relationships of the heart, and conflicting morals. There is an abundance of old temples and shrines still standing and can give the visitor a glimpse of the old ways of Tokyo and are very well taken care of by the people. Nightlife. You like it feels like venturing into a futuristic world. The areas such as Shinjuku and Shibuya are truly spectacular at night, and they have many dance clubs, bars, and entertainment venues. This is the Tokyo National Museum, and it houses works from all across Japan as well as from all over the world. It is one of the premier research museums in Japan. It reaches out to local as well as international audiences, and it was first opened on March 10, 1872. Here is the Tokyo Dome, and it's very resemblant of the Metrodome here, and it's air supported. They are blowing air into it to support it. And it has a really big history. It houses 55,000 people, and it was opened March 17, 1988. Many famous people have performed there, including Michael Jackson. He went there 21 times. Madonna, Backstreet Boys, and Japanese group Perfume, just to name a few from the Tokyo Dome website. It's hosted American football, NBA games, world heavyweight title matches, as well as international and Japanese baseball. And then the last, this is the anime and electronics. It's considered the capital of the world for both. Akihabara is a sacred place to many people. It's very colorful and has buildings upon buildings dedicated to anime and electronics. And then the last thing is I just want to show you guys a few of my pictures that I took while I was in Tokyo to give you a sense of what you might find. That is a picture we took in Akihabara. It's just a giant anime poster. You find